There's a question I get asked all the time. Can you really build a professional, high quality website without writing a single line of code? A few years ago, that answer was a bit shaky. Drag and drop builders were often clunky and limiting. But today, the game has completely changed. We now have a new generation of incredibly powerful no-code platforms like Wix Studio, Webflow, Framer, Bubble, and the ever-popular Elementor for WordPress. So I decided it was time to put them all to the test in an ultimate head-to-head comparison to find out which truly is the best. So I decided it was time to put them all to the test in an ultimate head-to-head comparison to find out which one truly is the best. To keep things fair, I'm going to build a similar website on each platform. Then I'll judge them on a few things: how easy they are to set up, what their page editor is like, if you can work with others, their content management, CMS stuff, how much they cost, and how good their hosting is. Just to keep it simple and see what you get right away, I'm using the hosting they offer themselves. I know some of them, like Webflow and especially Elementor, let you host wherever you want. But for this comparison, we're sticking to their own hosting. Oh, and one more thing. Elementor is actually a plugin for WordPress, while the others are all-in-one platforms. But it works so much like the others that it totally deserves to be in this comparison. So, let's get to it. First off, let's talk about first impression, the setup and onboarding process. Your journey with a new platform begins here, and a smooth start can make all the difference. In this area, Wix Studio and Webflow are the clear front runners. They both offer a wonderfully streamlined onboarding experience, guiding you through the initial setups and presenting you with a wide and diverse variety of professionally designed starter templates. You can find something for just about any industry and be up and running with a beautiful foundation in minutes. Next up, Framer takes a very different approach. Instead of a gallery of templates, it drops you straight into a blank canvas. Now, for seasoned designers, this might feel liberating, but for beginners, it can be a bit intimidating. While Framer does have some pre-made layouts you can access, you can't just import a full starter site from the get-go. Instead, you have to navigate to a separate templates marketplace, find one you like, and then that template gets copied to your account as an entirely new project. It's a few extra steps that disrupt the initial flow. Now let's look at Elementor. If you're using their dedicated Elementor hosting, the setup process is quite simple. However, the initial selection of full website kits and starter templates isn't as extensive as what you'll find with Wix Studio or Webflow. Of course, the entire universe of WordPress themes is at your disposal, many of which are built specifically for Elementor, but to evaluate the platform fairly, I'm sticking with the stock Elementor theme and experience. Finally, we have Bubble. And frankly, its setup process leaves a lot to be desired for someone just trying to build a website. You're not presented with any starter sites, and that's because Bubble isn't really just a website builder. It's a no-code application builder. Its setup wizard uses AI to understand your project goals and then suggests tutorials to help build your features. This is cool if you're building the next Airbnb, but for a standard business website or blog, it feels like overkill. I'd much rather just pick a template and get started. Bubble does have a template marketplace like Framer, and the process is similar. You have to find a template and clone it to a new project in your account. After your setup, you'll spend most of your time in the page editor, and this is where these platforms truly show their unique personalities. Wix Studio and Webflow once again share a lot of DNA here. They both feature a similar intuitive interface that has become something of an industry standard. On the left sidebar, you can access all your elements, pages, and assets, while the right sidebar is dedicated to styling and settings for whatever element you have selected. It's a logical layout that's both easy to learn and incredibly powerful. Bubble, though, takes a similar layout and makes it much more complex. Everything feels harder, and that's on purpose. Bubble is made for tough backends, user accounts, and database work that most websites just don't need. Think of a tool like Workalo, a hiring software built totally on Bubble. The other tools here could not build something this complex or would need many extra add-ons. But for what we are doing, I think Bubble's page editor is messy, plain, and not very easy to use next to the others. Elementor makes things simple with one clean sidebar on the left where you can add new parts and change old ones. There's also a helpful navigation panel you can move around the screen to easily see how your page is built. Elementor has done a great job of letting you do almost everything from this front end view, but you cannot forget it runs on WordPress. You will still need to be okay with using the normal WordPress dashboard and handle plugins, users, or certain site settings. So if you are new to this, know that you are learning two platforms at once. WordPress and Elementor come together. Also, if you want a totally different editing feel, you might love Framer. Its page editor feels less like a website builder and more like a graphic design tool similar to Figma or Photoshop. This is clear right away because it shows your website on different screen sizes: computer, tablet, and phone, all in one view, like artboards in Adobe Illustrator. Personally, I find this a bit distracting. You can remove these extra breakpoints to clean up the view, but then every time you want to check your phone design, you have to add them back in by hand. Still, Framer's editor is very simple and friendly, and for designers, this might be the easiest and most fun editor of all. Now, building a website by yourself is one thing, but what if you're working with a team? Some of these platforms are built for collaboration, while others are a bit more restrictive. Wix Studio and Framer are the undisputed champions here. They offer true Google Docs style real-time collaboration. This means multiple team members can be inside the same page, making edits at the same time, and you can see each other's cursors moving around. It's seamless and incredibly efficient for teams. In addition, Webflow, Bubble, and Elementor do allow you to have multiple users on the account, but they handle collaboration differently. These platforms will lock specific sections or elements that are currently being edited by another user. This is a practical system that prevents conflicts and overriding each other's work, but it definitely limits the kind of fluid, simultaneous collaboration that Wix Studio and Framer offer. Plus, when it comes to getting feedback from clients, there's another clear divide. Wix Studio and Elementor have the best systems by far. Wix Studio lets you send a shareable link to your client, who can then click on any element of the page and leave a comment, all without needing to log in or create an account. Elementor has a very similar notes feature that allows for targeted feedback right on the page. The other platforms do have commenting systems, but they generally require you to add your client as a full-fledged team member to the project. Depending on your subscription plan, this could actually increase your monthly bill. Building out your static pages is just one part of the equation. What happens when you want to add dynamic content like a blog or portfolio or list of team members? This is where a content management system or CMS comes into play. Webflow, Framer, and Wix Studio all have excellent, easy-to-use CMS collections built in. Think of these as simple databases you can create with any custom fields you need. You can set one up for blog posts with fields for a title, author, and publish date, or for portfolio items with fields for an image, project, description, and client name. The possibilities are endless. When it comes to the actual experience of writing a blog post within that CMS, however, I have to give the edge to Framer and Wix Studio. Their rich text editors give you much more flexibility over formatting your content, like changing text colors, highlighting sentences, or easily reordering images within your post. Webflow's rich text editor, by comparison, is surprisingly rigid. You can't change the color of a specific word, and trying to drag and drop images into a new spot on your post is nearly impossible. While it's not perfect in Wix Studio or Framer either, they at least make it clear where you're dropping the image. Next up, while Elementor does have its own built-in interface for managing CMS collections, this is where its foundation, WordPress, truly shines. WordPress is, without a doubt, the best platform on the planet for blogging. Its native block editor is incredibly powerful and gives you a ton of options for crafting your posts. However, for creating other types of dynamic content, WordPress doesn't have a native no-code database builder like the others. For that, you'll need to use a fantastic third-party plugin like Advanced Custom Fields or ACF. The core version is free and allows you to build powerful dynamic pages with Elementor. For example, you can create a custom post type for products within custom fields and then use Elementor's Loop Grid widget to dynamically display them all on a page. It's a more technical setup than the others, but it's arguably the most powerful. And then there's Bubble. Once again, it continues to be the most convoluted platform of the 5. While it supports CMS collections, which it just calls data types, it provides no templates or pre-built structures. You have to design everything from scratch. And if you want a blog, you also have to build the front-end page where you actually write the blog post. This is because Bubble's backend database doesn't support rich text formatting or image uploads directly. It just stores the data. You have to build your own interface so you can format text and upload images to be stored in the database. It's an incredibly complicated process for something that should be simple. Of course, we have to talk about pricing. For the most part, the base plans for these builders that include CMS functionality hover between $15 and $20 a month. Bubble is the most expensive of the bunch, with its starter plan coming in around $30 a month. However, there's a huge catch with Webflow. Its most basic plan does not include CMS functionality. If you want to use their CMS collections, you have to jump to their next tier, which starts at $23 a month billed annually. It's also worth noting that Framer offers a unique Framer Mini plan for just $5 a month. This plan doesn't include CMS collections and has a low bandwidth limit, but for simple one-page portfolio or a landing page, it's an incredible value for those on a tight budget. For Elementor, the pricing I looked at includes both WordPress hosting and Elementor Pro license through their own hosting service. But remember, you can also purchase an Elementor Pro license separately for about $59 a year and then bring your own WordPress hosting, giving you more flexibility and control over costs. Since you're relying on these platforms to keep your site online, fast, and secure, the quality of their hosting infrastructure is critical. With Webflow, Framer, and Bubble, you're in good hands, as they all rely on the incredibly robust and infinitely scalable Amazon Web Services, AWS. Wix Studio uses a powerful multi-cloud approach, combining the power of AWS, Google Cloud Platform, Fastly's CDN, and its own global data centers to promise 99.98% uptime. Finally, Elementor's own hosting solutions run on the Google Cloud Platform. But the key takeaway for Elementor and WordPress is that you are never locked in. You have complete freedom to move your WordPress site to any web host in the world at any time you choose. So after all that, which no-code website builder is the best? Well, it really depends on who you are and what you're building. If you're looking for a simple yet incredibly powerful drag and drop website builder, my top recommendation is Wix Studio. It strikes the perfect balance between ease of use, a rich feature set, fantastic collaboration tools, and great value for your money. If you're a designer who wants your website builder to feel more like your favorite design software, then you should definitely give Framer a try. Its unique editor will feel right at home, and its budget-friendly mini plan makes it accessible to everyone. If you're building a blog-heavy website, or if you want complete, uncompromised control over every aspect of your site, including where it's hosted, then the combination of Elementor and WordPress is unbeatable. As for the other two, Webflow is a fantastic platform and is very similar to Wix Studio in terms of power and capability. I gave the edge to Wix Studio primarily because its rich text editor in the CMS is more capable and its pricing is more straightforward. But you really can't go wrong with Webflow. When it comes to Bubble, I simply can't recommend it for building a standard website or a blog. It is an incredibly powerful tool, but it's designed for building complex web applications. For most users, you'd be better off using any of the other 4 platforms. I hope this detailed breakdown helps you choose the right platform for your next project. Let me know in the comments which one you're leaning towards. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.